For decades, we've been told the same story, that milk is nature's most complete food, that it builds strong bones, fuels growth, and that no breakfast is complete without a glass of it. But what if that story was never meant for everyone? Because behind the white, creamy image of health lies a truth that modern science is finally uncovering, that for millions of adults, milk isn't nourishment. It's inflammation, it's fatigue, it's the quiet cause behind countless digestive, skin, and sinus problems we never traced back to the glass on our table. This isn't about demonizing milk. It's about understanding biology and reclaiming awareness over what your body is really telling you. Because healing doesn't begin with adding more. It begins with asking, what if less is better? The biology behind milk. To understand why milk nourishes some and harms others, we need to look beyond the glass and into its biology. Every drop of cow's milk holds three main components: lactose, a natural sugar meant for quick energy; casein, the protein that fuels growth; and saturated fat, which carries hormones and growth factors. In nature, that's a perfect formula for infants. Milk's purpose is to grow a newborn, to signal the body to build, multiply, and expand. But nature never intended adults to keep drinking it. Once a mammal is weaned, it stops producing lactase, the enzyme needed to digest lactose. Humans are the only species that kept drinking milk into adulthood. And even then, most of us can't handle it well. Today, research shows that nearly 2/3 of all adults are lactose intolerant. Their bodies no longer make enough lactase to break down milk sugar. That sugar ferments in the gut, causing bloating, cramps, and gas. A quiet discomfort many ignore as normal. But digestion is only half the story. Inside most commercial milk lies A1 casein, a protein variant linked to immune inflammation. When A1 casein is broken down, it forms a peptide called beta-casomorphin 7, a tiny molecule that can act like morphine in the body, slowing digestion, thickening mucus, and, in some people, even dulling mood or focus. So if you ever feel foggy, heavy, or congested after milk, your body isn't being sensitive, it's being intelligent. That feeling isn't rejection. It's communication, a whisper from within saying, "This isn't made for me anymore." The hidden symptoms. For many people, the effects of milk aren't obvious at all. They're subtle, and they build up quietly over time. You drink it at breakfast, add cheese to lunch, a bit of cream to your coffee, and by evening you feel heavy, bloated, tired, maybe even foggy. But you don't think it's the milk. You think it's just you. That's how dairy intolerance hides, not as an allergy, but as a whisper the body gives every day. In 2018, researchers from the Journal of Nutrition and Metabolism studied adults with chronic bloating and fatigue. After removing dairy for just 2 weeks, over 70% reported better digestion and higher energy. Inflammatory markers like C-reactive protein, or CRP, also dropped significantly. That means for many people, dairy doesn't just upset the stomach, it quietly fuels inflammation throughout the body. And those signs can show up anywhere. In your gut, undigested lactose ferments and produces hydrogen gas, leading to cramps, bloating, and discomfort. Over time, this can even contribute to SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. In your skin, a 2020 review from the Harvard School of Public Health found a clear connection between milk, especially skim milk, and acne. The hormones in dairy stimulate oil glands and increase IGF-1, a growth factor tied to inflammation and breakouts. In your sinuses, casein proteins increase mucus production. A British Journal of Nutrition study found that people with chronic sinus congestion experienced relief after cutting dairy for a month. And in your joints, dairy can trigger low-grade inflammation in those with autoimmune or arthritic conditions. A 2019 NIH meta-analysis found that removing A1 casein dairy lowered inflammatory cytokines in people with joint pain and fatigue. The truth is, most people never connect these dots. They treat the symptoms one by one. Antacids for digestion, creams for acne, painkillers for joints, but the cause remains right in the kitchen. So if you've been living with mild discomfort, a foggy mind, or restless skin, it might not be your age, your stress, or your genes. It might be something as simple as the milk in your morning cup. Because the body doesn't lie. It speaks in patterns, and when you finally listen, it always tells the truth. Milk, hormones, and inflammation. Cow's milk was never meant for humans. It was designed to grow a 60-pound calf into a 600-pound cow. To make that happen, nature filled it with growth hormones, even the organic kind. Inside every glass are compounds like IGF-1, short for insulin-like growth factor 1. It's a hormone that promotes cell growth and division, perfect for a baby cow, but not for an adult human. Elevated IGF-1 levels have been linked by numerous studies to acne, hormonal imbalance, and even increased risks of breast and prostate cancers. Researchers from the Harvard School of Public Health have observed that people who consume large amounts of dairy often have 20 to 30% higher IGF-1 levels than those who don't. But IGF-1 isn't the only concern. Dairy's saturated fats and bioactive hormones can trigger low-grade inflammation, especially when combined with high-sugar diets common in modern life. A 2021 review in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism found that chronic dairy intake raised insulin levels and inflammatory cytokines in people with metabolic syndrome and insulin resistance, the same pathways, that drive fatigue, weight gain, and aging. And while milk is often praised for building strong bones, research from the American Journal of Public Health suggests that higher milk intake doesn't actually lower fracture risk. It may even correlate with higher inflammation and oxidative stress in adults. So when we say, milk builds strong bones, it's worth asking, at what cost to the rest of the body? Because the same signals that grow a calf also tell human cells to grow, divide, and never stop. And when growth never stops, that's when inflammation begins. Who should avoid cow's milk? So who should actually avoid cow's milk? The answer isn't about diet trends or internet fads. It's about biology. Let's start with the largest group, people who are lactose intolerant. Studies from the National Institutes of Health estimate that nearly 65% of adults worldwide lack the enzyme lactase, which breaks down lactose, the sugar in milk. Without it, that sugar ferments in the gut, causing bloating, cramps, and gas. No supplement or milk brand can truly change that. Because it's not about willpower, it's about how your body is built. Next are people with autoimmune or inflammatory conditions like arthritis, Hashimoto's thyroiditis, or inflammatory bowel disease. Research from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition shows that certain milk proteins, especially A1 casein, can trigger immune responses that mimic infection, causing flare-ups that many people mistake for random bad days. Then there are those dealing with acne or chronic sinus issues. In a 2020 Harvard review, dairy intake, particularly skim milk, was strongly associated with persistent acne and skin inflammation. And in another study from the British Journal of Nutrition, reducing dairy intake improved chronic sinus congestion and postnasal drip within weeks. These aren't coincidences. They're biological signals that the body is overreacting to certain dairy proteins and hormones. Finally, people struggling with fatigue, brain fog, or mood swings may also benefit from cutting dairy. Researchers from the Journal of Nutrition and Metabolism found that removing milk products for just 2 weeks lowered systemic inflammation and improved cognitive clarity in adults with metabolic fatigue. If milk makes you feel heavy instead of nourished, congested instead of clear, you're not being sensitive. You're being self-aware. Because your body isn't wrong. It's wise. Listening to that wisdom isn't restriction. It's respect. Healing alternatives. Finding what works for you. The good news is, nature always provides alternatives. If cow's milk doesn't serve your body, there are many ways to nourish yourself, without pain, bloating, or fatigue. If you still crave the creamy comfort of dairy, you might start with goat milk or A2 cow's milk. These contain a gentler protein called A2 beta-casein, which breaks down more easily in the gut and causes far fewer inflammatory reactions than the common A1 protein found in most commercial milk. In several studies, including one published in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition, people who switched to A2 milk reported fewer digestive symptoms, less bloating, and better energy. But if your body feels lighter without any animal milk at all, the plant kingdom offers a healing variety of choices, each one with its own gift. Oat milk, naturally sweet and rich in beta-glucans, helps lower cholesterol and supports heart health. Almond milk, light and anti-inflammatory, provides vitamin E, a natural antioxidant that protects your cells. Coconut milk, rich and satisfying, contains medium-chain fatty acids that fuel the brain and metabolism. And soy milk, one of the most studied plant milks, has been shown in Harvard reviews to improve hormonal balance and support cardiovascular health when used moderately. The key is not to follow a rule, but to listen. Try one, then another. Notice how your body feels after each cup. Does your digestion feel calm? Does your energy stay steady? That feedback is more valuable than any label or trend. Healing isn't about perfection. It's about paying attention. Every mindful choice, every small act of noticing, brings you closer to balance. Because your body already knows what it needs. You just have to give it the silence to speak. How to transition smoothly. If dairy has been part of your life for years, your body and your taste buds will need a little time to adjust. So be gentle. Go slowly. Start small. Replace the milk in your morning coffee or tea with oat milk or almond milk. Let the new flavor surprise you, not as a loss, but as a discovery. Then, when you're ready, swap cheese for fermented choices like goat cheese, coconut yogurt, or cashew cream. These foods are rich in living probiotics. They help your gut adapt, rebuild good bacteria, and reduce cravings naturally. If you feel cravings or mild discomfort in the first few days, don't worry. That's not withdrawal, it's detox. Your microbiome is rebalancing, your inflammation is settling, and your body is remembering how to function without constant stimulation. Support that healing with plenty of water, fiber-rich fruits and greens, and gentle movement. A walk, a stretch, a few deep breaths. Within a few weeks, you'll start to notice the quiet signs, your skin clearing, your digestion calming, your mornings feeling lighter. Food will taste more alive, and so will you. That's not magic. That's your biology healing itself, one mindful change at a time. Listening to your body's wisdom. In the end, this isn't a war on milk. It's an invitation to listen more deeply to the quiet intelligence of your own body. For some, milk nourishes. For others, it burdens. And both can be true. Health was never meant to look the same for everyone. It's not a single rule or a universal list of good and bad. It's a living conversation between you and the food you choose every day. Your body is always speaking, sometimes through comfort, sometimes through discomfort. Every ache, every burst of energy, every shift in your mood. It's all feedback, not failure. When you learn to listen, You start living in partnership with yourself again. So the next time you reach for that glass of milk, pause, take a breath, ask, does this truly serve me today? If the answer feels heavy, choose light. If it feels nourishing, receive it with gratitude. Either way, you've already begun to heal, because you're aware. True healing isn't about perfection. It's about presence, about paying attention to the signals, honoring your limits, and remembering that your body is not the enemy. It's your oldest ally. This is Healing Good Life, where science meets soul, and every meal becomes medicine.